Hi, this is Chris, Video Game Dust Sleeves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with Bones06,
How's it going, everybody?
DanCavDragon,
Hello there.
Dizzy the Gamer Jit,
Heidi ho, neighborino.
and guest gamers Dan B from the Game Beaters,
Hello.
Mike Tendo Power,
Hiya, buddy.
OWAS,
Hello, hello, hello.
and the Bargain Bin Hobo.
Except no substitutes, folks.
For our segment, as always, Sleeve It or Leave It. First game from the NES, Aussie Rules Footy. This is actually a PAL exclusive, I believe. Bones, correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe you're right. It's not on the North American set.
There you go. All right. So, Bones, start with you. Sleeve It or Leave It.
Because it's a PAL, I'm going to go with Sleeve It.
Dan Cav, Sleeve It or Leave It.
Doesn't look that exciting to me, so I would say no.
Dizzy?
Because it says Mattel on the front, I would sleeve it and put it next to a certain Barbie NES sleeve.
Nice.
Gee, I wonder what certain Barbie NES sleeve that is.
The best sleeve.
Dan B.
I would leave it. It's a NES sports game, and usually those are not sleevable.
Oh, they're all sleevable.
Well,
Not playable.
fair enough.
Mike Tendo.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it.
OWAS.
I think I'd have to leave it. I mean, some people might say it's leavable, but I think it is way leavable.
And the Bargain Bin Hobo.
Let me tell you this, folks. This does not have portly plumbers. I can guarantee you that right now. For that reason only, I will leave it in the dust. No, I will leave it in the trash can.
Next title, Devil World. Also a PAL exclusive. Bones, am I right on that?
Yeah, that one is. I know that one is for sure.
Bones.
Sleeve that one, yes.
Yes, okay. Dan B.
Sorry.
Oh, I would sleeve this one as well.
Dan Cav.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would sleeve this one too. Yes.
OWAS.
I have no idea about this one, so I would not leave it.
Dizzy.
I would not sleeve it. I don't see a lot going on the front.
Mike Tendo.
Well, my OCD needs every black box game sleeved.
And Bargain Bin.
Stop me if I'm wrong, but isn't there like a Smash assist trophy based on this where like they move the screen around and you have to stay inside the screen? Is that what that game is?
Not 100% sure.
Well, either way, I'm going to sleeve it because Devil World is a pretty cool title, you have to admit.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next title is actually a PS3 game. We don't really see these on here very often. Beyond Two Souls. Dan Cav, Sleeve It or Leave It.
I mean, this is a pretty decent game, but I don't generally sleeve PS3 games, so I would leave it.
Bones.
You know, I think I'm going to have to skip that one.
Dizzy.
I want to skip it, but the back looks like it has William Dafoe on it, so I would probably just 3D pop his face out.
Nothing like 3D popping the back of a sleeve. Like, I haven't done that yet.
The back corner.
Yeah.
That's it, just the face.
Dan B.
I don't really know much about this game, so I guess I'm gonna have to leave it.
Mike Tendo.
I've played this one, but I don't know. I'd probably leave it. I don't have a particular fondness for it or anything.
Bargain Bin.
This is one of those like visual novel games, if I remember correctly, for those who haven't played it. And based purely on that, I'm going to leave it. Those really aren't my kind of game.
OWAS.
Drop it like a hot Mike Tendo.
And the last title, Bebe's Kids for the Super NES. Bones.
Fuck no. With assertion, fuck no.
Woof.
Ow.
That hurt. Bargain Bin.
Well, I am the bargain hobo. That means I need to stick up for the bad game.
There
So
you go.
I'll leave it. I'll give it a chance.
Oz.
Leave it.
Mike Tendo.
I don't know. I'd probably sleeve it for real.
Not for fake.
Oh.
Dan B.
I think I'm gonna have to second the fuck no.
I got 2 fuck no's on this one. Wow. Dizzy?
I'm actually gonna say fuck yes. Actually,
Wow.
I used to play this game as a kid. Never got past the first stage, but now on the RetroPie, I know what to do to get past the first stage. So, fuck yes.
Wow.
Yeah, way to go, Dizzy.
With authority.
With
Yeah.
authority.
DanCav.
Wow. That almost changed my answer, but I'm still gonna say no.
Dizzy, you almost did it. You almost made Dan change it.
Dan,
Looking
do you
too
own
fuck
that
yes.
I don't own this game. I'm curious if anybody here owns this game.
I played on emulator, but that's about it.
I would buy it.
Game just emulated.
I would buy it. Why not?
$4.
It's based off the movie.
It's based on a comedian, no less.
Oh yeah, Robin Harris.
It was a movie.
It's a movie, but the movie's not really a cartoon. It just has like certain little cartoon spots in it.
So it's like Mary Poppins.
So does Roger Rabbit.
The opposite of Mary Poppins, I'd say. Mary Poppins with cuss words.
There you go.
Wasn't there a cartoon series though?
Yeah, there was a series on this. Baby's Kids. Yep.
I can't imagine it was very successful.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
It had 12 seasons.
Did it really?
What?
No, I
Damn.
don't think so. I'm just saying.
Wow, that would have been interesting.
Wouldn't have been. Alright, next segment, guess that box art. Who wants to be the first person to guess the first image? Anybody?
If you want a wrong guess, absolutely.
Go ahead, Bargain. Give me a wrong
NES
guess.
game?
I don't know what this is. Like, I'm gonna say this is like the NES remake of Postal.
If it's NES, I might know it.
It really feels like NES, just looking at it.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
letting you guys ponder. What was that, Mike? You know it?
Yeah, it's Codename Viper.
You got it.
Yeah.
Codename Viper for the NES. Yep.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure I know whose forehead is in the
I
next
think
one.
everybody knows whose forehead that is. That is
you
that
know.
is an iconic forehead.
It's Drake the
Michael
Clown.
Jackson.
If
Hey,
you
yo.
know wrestling, you know that forehead.
I don't know wrestling, so I don't know that forehead.
Throw a toothpick at Bargain Bin for that.
Excuse me.
That was his trademark. He threw a toothpick. He flicked a toothpick. All right. Besides Bargain Bin, does everybody know whose forehead that is?
Yeah.
Yep.
hmm
Fairly certain.
But which game is it?
Dan B, do you know whose forehead that is?
I do not.
Did you watch wrestling? Did you watch wrestling in the 90s?
A little bit, but no, I don't remember it very well.
Okay. Dan Cav, you're another one that doesn't watch wrestling from the 90s, so you probably don't know this forehead, do you?
Isn't this the guy who just died?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but I know who this is. One of those bad guys, right?
Yeah.
The bad guy.
The bad
Yeah.
guy. Exactly. All right, so if I give you the console, it will narrow it down extremely.
Man, I know this one too.
Do you know it, Mike? Go ahead.
Nobody else wants to take a shot because
Do it.
Has to be PS1.
Go ahead, Mike. Do it.
WrestleMania, the arcade game.
For what console?
Oh God,
I was
Saturn.
wrong.
Like I said, if I give you the console, it will narrow it down like extremely.
Oh man,
PS1.
No.
Saturn.
No.
No. Oh wow.
64.
No.
Oh,
Super.
Genesis.
What was
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Genesis.
No.
Game Gear.
Sega Master System. I don't know.
No.
32X.
Yes, Sega 32X.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game for Sega 32X.
Was it on Sega CD too, or no?
I think that was Rage in the Cage with Sega CD. I don't know if they came out with WrestleMania for Sega CD or not. Bones, you know that answer?
I don't believe they did.
Yeah, I thought it was Nitro for PS1, so I was off too.
But there's Doink the Clown back there.
Yeah, I see
That
him.
guy's him now.
Scott Hall.
Yeah, that's. Oh yeah, Scott Hall. Yep.
Is it or is it Razor Ramon?
Razor Ramon. You're right. That's
Ramon.
yeah.
May
Razor,
he rest in peace.
the Razor Edge. All right, Bones.
Okay, guys. Today's logo sleeve is Dizzy the Gamer Jit version 2.
Wow,
Only Dizzy's logo sleeve.
it looks so good.
Nice. That's very good.
That looks really cool. If anybody is interested in acquiring one of these sleeves, hit up Chris at Video Game Dust Sleeves, and he'll hook you up with one. Dizzy, I really
Yes.
do like this one, man. It's nice.
Yeah, don't
could
call
even say
me
it
for the
was
sleeve. You
legit.
gotta call Chris.
yeah,
Well, you can call Dizzy, but Dizzy will relay the message.
you could do that technically. Yeah.
I got people hitting up my stream asking for these dust sleeves, and I'm like, yo, you gotta hit up Chris. You gotta hit up Video Game Dust Sleeve. DM the man, and you can get one of these sleeves.
Well, Dizzy,
They're quality sleeves too.
since we usually ask the guest gamer, I know you're not a guest gamer really, but what game would you want to see in your new version 2 sleeve?
It would definitely be a light gun game. I'd say if you can find Duck Hunt by itself, just Duck Hunt,
Black Box.
put it in that sleeve.
I would have done Gumshoe.
Any one of the light gun games. But Duck Hunt would look pretty cool. I got Gotcha in minds. Gotcha's a light gun game, but any of the light gun games, like I said, if you can find Duck Hunt by itself, put it in that sleeve.
Nice.
So
All right, thank you for the selection.
So for those that are probably wondering, the reason why I put Dizzy's logo sleeve on this actual episode is because Dizzy's logo sleeves never made it to a podcast.
I didn't even notice that.
No.
Even his intro?
No.
Oh, that had my
Weird.
daughter's
Yeah.
Melody's Playroom.
Melody's Playroom was on
Yeah.
Dizzy's intro. I realized that when I did the last podcast with the YouTube Mafia sleeve. I was like, I don't think I ever put Dizzy's logo sleeve on here, so that was the reason for putting it on this podcast.
Well, thank you.
Because his podcast was actually for his daughter. Her logo sleeve was on that podcast, which is Melody's Playroom. If you want to check her channel out, by all means. All right, Dan. Cav.
All right. Franchise of the month. This month I picked Guitar Hero, something we hadn't talked about before. Just wondering your thoughts. Are you a fan of the series?
Hey, I know somebody that owns like 17 guitars.
Yeah, I'm gonna start.
Right?
I'm gonna start with there because we learned that in the last podcast that Dan B collects guitars. But so I'm curious if everyone here is.
You know what
played
guitars he collects? These are the guitars he collects.
Guitar Hero one.
That's good. Yeah. See, I wonder if you collect, guitar for your video game systems as well. Anyways, go ahead, take it away, Dan.
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple Guitar Hero guitars. I didn't count those in my collection though. But the thing about Guitar Hero, I like some of the games. I haven't played all these. I've played a few here and there, but like it's so vastly different from playing a real guitar that it's people automatically think, oh, you're gonna be really good at this because you play guitar.
No.
It's way different than playing guitar. It's a whole different ball game, and I kind of suck at Guitar Hero to be honest. So I played guitar for 20 years, but I can't play Guitar Hero. I can get through the easy modes pretty much.
Yeah, I like the fact that I can't play guitar, but this makes me feel like I can play guitar when I play guitar. All right, Bones, how about you? Do you play Guitar Hero?
Well, I've tried to play the real guitar, and I had the same issue. I couldn't play that shit. Now, I'm not saying that I feel like I'm playing a real guitar when I play Guitar Hero or even Rock Band or any of that, but it does give you a feeling of satisfaction that you can play some sort of a guitar, even if it be a fucking ukulele or whatever. I actually have a ton of them. My main time on Guitar Hero was definitely PS2. So Guitar Hero 1 and 2, and a little bit of the rock of the 80s, some of 3. When you start getting up into the, the Van Halen one, and I don't even believe I made it to 5. I think I stopped before I started playing anything like 5. I have most of them, even though I haven't played them. I do not know off the top of my head how many guitars I have. What would you say I was up to, Chris?
You had at least
Probably like 20.
Yeah, probably. You had like a
20
wall.
guitars or
You had
something.
a shrine of wall. So, well, you used to. You used to have like a whole wall of Guitar Hero stuff. So,
Yeah, there's probably like 10 or so hanging on the wall, and then I have other one in boxes. So yeah, I do enjoy it. I would say if I had to pick a guitar game though, I would pick Rock Band, guys, over that, just because you had the drums as an option. And if your annoying sister's over drunk, she can sing on the fucking microphone and drive everybody mad. But I put a lot more time, I think, into that. Also because you could download songs at that time. And basically every package that was coming out, I was buying for Rock Band. Versus this, you had to go out and buy the whole game. But yeah, I enjoyed it, though.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny how like for a while this was really popular, then all of a sudden it kind of like died off. Because you mentioned that you're playing for the PlayStation 2. I was like, that pretty much started and ended there. You know, it didn't really go much further than that. But yeah, no, there's definitely those good times. Dizzy, how about yourself? Are you a Guitar Hero fan and player?
Man, I used to always see the guitars for PS2 at the Goodwill like every weekend. I never bit the bullet. Surprisingly, I don't own any of these games. Not that I'm not a fan and I wouldn't. The way you got these pictures set up, it looks like something I'd be interested in. Especially the rock of the 80s and Legends of Rock. But no, I don't have much time with these games. I haven't played any of them.
Well, you know, I think they're pretty cheap, so definitely.
yeah, they are cheap.
I want them now.
Yeah.
Because of this podcast, it might be a pickup later on.
Yeah, I can't remember like which game had what songs on them, but they all, I think all of them had at least something you know worth playing. Mike Tendo, how about yourself? Are you a Guitar Hero fan?
Yeah, somewhat. Like I played a little bit of both, like the Rock Band and Guitar Hero. On Guitar Hero though, I think I played a lot of the. I used to play the Metallica one a lot, but I don't know. they're okay. I'm not very great at it though either. I can't really.
Let's be honest. How many people are actually great at the game?
Really not.
I'm not great anymore. I was pretty good back when it first came out, but I haven't played it in so long. Last time I picked it up, I sucked.
I don't know any of the games anymore though. I still have the guitar. I need to actually find some.
Oh, I see future podcast pickups.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hopefully you guys can go pick them up. How about you, Oaz? Are you have any history with Guitar Hero?
Oh yeah, we I think a buddy picked up Rock Band. And, oh, that's cool, and because he had Rock Band, we picked up. I think the first one was Guitar Hero World Tour because it came with. We did the whole set, so it had the drums and guitar, and we picked up several of the other ones and some of the Rock Band stuff. And we'd have game night, and we'd play this for hours. And even just as a family, we'd pull it out and play it. And I think mostly Lego Rock Band, because at the time my daughter was younger. the Lego Rock Band was fairly tame with the songs. But yeah, it's interesting because this is kind of a genre that lived and died in a generation of gaming.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I stuck to Guitar Hero, yeah, but yeah, Rock Band is its own. It's a yeah, it adds even more possibilities to and games and songs and accessories. Yeah, and Bargain, I mean, your questions actually, covers a lot of this, because it talks about third-party controllers and accessories, and this is the ultimate couch co-op game to get together with your friends and play. But that being said, Bargain Bin, have you played Guitar Hero much?
Well, I have a lot of quote-unquote second-hand history with this series because my brother was really into them. He would get a bunch of the games. I think he stopped at World Tour, and he loved them, and he said that when he would play it a bunch, and then he'd be, like, drinking something, he looks into the cup and he sees, like, the notes coming down into his mouth, like he's playing Guitar Hero that much. And the funny thing is, after he stopped playing Guitar Hero, he started playing real guitars. And he started collecting guitars. Like, one year for Christmas, he got an actual, legitimate axe guitar that he still has. And he collects actual guitars now. But I only played a little bit with him. But yeah, most of my memories of this franchise come from my brother.
He was a big fan.
He was.
Yeah. All right, and then how about you, Chris? Do you own Guitar Hero and the guitars?
Yes, I actually do. I actually got it for Christmas one year for my mom out of some odd, like, off the wall thing. I don't even know why she picked it up for me. But yeah, I forget what exactly game I started with, but I do have pretty much all these games, but like one maybe. I played probably Metallica, Van Halen, and I want to say Warriors of Rock the most. I actually have a CIB Warriors of Rock, and you guys seen it. I don't know if you noticed it, but it is in there, Dan. It's in my game room, the biggest box to the left. So I never took it out of the box. It's still in the damn box. So I played, I dabbled here and there. I got my mom's boyfriend. He played it a little bit with me. It's okay. It's like, but it has its point where it's like, okay, you played it, you've done it. Like now it's like, okay, whatever. You get tired of playing it after a while. Your fingers cramp up. But for the most part, I don't mind playing every now and then. It's something that you can go back to when you're bored, I guess. Something easy, thoughtless. I mean, it's not easy to hit all those buttons after a while, but you don't need any brain power, really, is what I'm saying, to play one of these games.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at Too Many Games, and they have this as a tournament. They're playing, they have a Guitar Hero tournament, so some people are really good. I was impressed.
I've seen, I forget what the YouTuber channel was, but they can do this blindfolded.
Yeah.
How the hell are you doing the blindfolded? Like, wow.
They just don't have a life, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for your thoughts on Guitar Hero, and that's it for Franchise of the Month.
All right, on to the topic podcast, which is brought to you by Bargain Bin Hobo.
Hey.
All right, so he came up with like a series of topics that we could talk about, but instead of individually talking about each one of these as a topic, we decided to crunch them together and actually make a podcast of all the questions he's been coming up with lately. Make it a little easier to go through. So we will start with question number 1. Does your gaming affect relationships with others, and if so, how? Bones.
For me, no. I don't think it affects any of my relationships. All my friends are cool with it. I'm not currently dating anybody, so I don't have a person my ex telling me that she don't agree with it. But yeah, I don't really have anything to say negative.
All right. DanCav.
I mean, in terms of time, I try to limit how much time I spend on gaming, so it doesn't, it doesn't piss everybody off. So that's the first thing. And I would say the only thing that how it affects my relationship with my wife is how much money I spend on gaming. So I get a lot of grief when I spend a lot of money on gaming. That's about it. But other than that, I try to limit, everything in moderation. So as long as I do that, I think it's cool. It doesn't really affect my relationships.
Dizzy.
Well, usually if I'm playing a game, it's usually live on stream. I don't really do off-stream gaming that much, but my wife loves that I stream and make content. Usually if I'm playing co-op with my daughter, that's like family time. And when I'm playing video games and streaming, my wife is usually watching anime, so that's like her time to watch anime. So it's like a win-win for all of us. So nah, doesn't affect anything here.
Dan B.
Maybe only in good ways does it affect me. I mean, I pretty much surround myself with people who are either artists or people who are into gaming, and so it can bring you closer together to those people, and other people who are creative. They're just like, oh, that's the gaming thing he does, and I'll do my thing. So no, I guess not.
Mike Tendo.
The only thing that would affect is probably my pets. I don't know, my dog. When my dog gets outside and no, but no, not really. I'm good.
Oh, was.
I'd say yeah, because I'm in a similar boat with as Dizzy. Most of the time when I'm gaming, it's when I'm streaming, because that happens after my daughter goes to bed and my wife works night shift. So when she's sleeping is usually when I'm streaming. But also like when we're all awake and we'll generally play games, and we build those memories. And I play games on occasion online with my brother and some of his kids. And so a lot of times that we can't get together and play a board game or a card game or something, but we can get online and play a video game of some kind.
And Bargain Bin Hobo.
Well, so the most interesting effect of the relationship is actually with my sister. So my sister doesn't really care so much that I love video games until she has to get me a birthday or Christmas present. Because she knows I love video games, but she doesn't want to get me video games or anything related to video games because that's all I ever do. So she wants to get me something that I will love and enjoy despite not being a video game. But one year, there's a little story here. One year she couldn't think of anything, and my birthday is right around the corner, so she just said, screw it. She got me a GameStop gift card, but in an attempt to spite me, she got one with Princess Peach on it, but I didn't really care because I like Princess Peach. I don't care who knows it. I happily handed it over to the clerk to buy something with it, and they didn't even bat an eyelid. So I think that kind of backfired on her.
Princess Peach is hot.
Yeah, Lucy's hotter.
All right, second question or statement, however you want to look at this. Greatest AI fails in gaming. We'll start with you, Bargain.
Okay, so I actually have two I would like to share. One I was playing, the other I was watching, and they're both from Grand Theft Auto. So I was playing Grand Theft Auto 3, and in that game, there's like these cars you can steal that are like really fast, but they're like owned by a gang. If you steal the car, one guy, the driver, will start shooting at you, and the other car will try to ram you off the road. Well, I was doing the chase, and then for some reason, I stopped, got out of the car, and just stood there. Car chasing me. I'm not making this up. Ramped off my car, flew through the air, landed on a cop car, both exploded, and I got to keep the car. And the second one I was watching, it was my sister had a bunch of friends over. We started playing Grand Theft Auto 4, and the guy's playing, and he's getting chased by the police. And I don't know if he was paying attention, but he did like this jump, and the police officer also attempted the jump. And he landed safe. We're just watching both cars fly through the air in slow motion. But he landed safely, and the cop hit the wall, fell down, and died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dizzy loves those kind of stories. So, that's his,
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
that's his joint right there. All right, OWAS. Any AI fails?
One that comes to mind is one from Halo Infinite. I was going around doing, I think it was the bounty, and I was trying to kill a guy, and I was on a ghost. Well, he goes to hijack the ghost, and I'm near the edge of the map, and so I purposely run it off the map while he's on it, jump off and grapple up the wall, and he dies, and an achievement pops because that was like the last guy I had to kill for bounties, and it was just Halo has lots of them, especially with the physics. You just running around, and all of a sudden your vehicle just goes flying into the air or something. I had another one and I forgot it.
All good. Mike Tendo.
My greatest fail would probably be every 30 seconds of me playing Bloodborne. I don't know.
AI fail when the computer messed up.
Oh, and the computer. Oh man.
If you don't have any, that's fine, Mike.
Yeah, I had to think about it.
All right, Dizzy.
Well, Cyberpunk 2077 comes to mind a lot, but the most recent thing I saw was I saw Mr. C, Brothers Forge Game, and he was just playing Madden 2023, and after he got tackled, the other player was standing up and just sat down on his head and was kind of like riding his head like and this is like a brand new game, like just came out last week. I'm like, this should not have glitches in it in 2022, but the other player was kind of riding his helmet as he tried to stand up. So that's the most recent thing I've seen.
DanCav.
Was he playing with the Cowboys?
Oh.
He's playing with the Broncos, probably.
It was Kansas City.
Oh.
All right, DanCav.
Two come to mind. I mean, one takes me all the way back to the Atari, and then their version of chess, and then so on Atari chess you can set the difficulty level from like beginner to all the way to like genius or something like that. And but what that does is when you increase the difficulty level, the computer calculates more moves in advance or something like that. It tries to calculate the best strategy to win. So what that does is just it takes longer for the computer to make a move because it's going through all these scenarios where it's like trying to think, trying to figure out ways to beat you. So on the genius level, the computer thinks forever. It doesn't ever move because it just keeps calculating, and you can't really play. You just the game you can never progress in the game because the computer's just always thinking. So that's a pretty bad AI fail because it's like pretty unplayable.
Come back 5 days later and still there.
Yeah, it just never moves. It keeps thinking forever basically. So that's pretty broken. And then the other AI fail it's kind of when the AI cheats, like I can't even remember what game it was, but it was some Japanese strip poker game where you play against these women, and then whenever you win a hand, they take clothes off. But the thing is that it gets to the point where they won't let you win, so they never take all their clothes off. So you get pretty far, but you get pretty far, but at some point you just cannot win. The computer will always beat you as a way of preventing you from getting too far. So that's pretty bad fail too.
Dan B, any AI fails you can remember?
Can't really think of any offhand. I do like to add something to that last thing about the computer cheating. I do know that in what is that, Super Off-Road or whatever it is for the NES, maybe it's Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road or whatever, but as you progress in that game further and further, the other cars in that game will literally cheat. They'll have infinite boosts, and they'll just boost all the way around the whole circuit, and they'll be able to cut through corners and things like that. And if you do it, you don't get to win. They don't count it as a lap, but they get counted as a lap. So that's a pretty awful cheat. But I can't really think of any like AI fails. Although I did play Cyberpunk a lot, and there was a lot of those in there. I just can't think of any specific ones other than like clipping through walls and things like that.
All good.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Bones. Anything?
Well, I would say I got two that just come to mind pretty quick. One bullshit AI would be Pit Fighter for Genesis. I feel that is just a crock of shit. I've never been able to beat the game. The other one would probably be more current, and I would go with The Forest, which is on PS4 and PC. That's janky as shit with the way they run around. They get stuck, the cannibals. They'll get stuck in walls. They get stuck up in trees. They fucking teleport around. Those two come to mind, and I'm sure there's plenty more, but those two immediately jumped out when you said the fails in gaming, because to me those are fails. The way they overpowered them in Pit Fighter was a huge fail, and having guys constantly disappear, reappear, and get stuck in stuff. Any game that you get stuck in is a fail.
All right, next is number 3, experiences with third-party controllers and accessories. We'll start with you, Bones, since I know you know all about this.
Yeah, most of the time they get thrown into a corner of a box or somewhere and never get touched again. Most of the time, third-party controllers, not always. There were some back in the day that were decent. I mean, I don't really
you don't like your Mad Cats?
I mean, you can't hate on all of it, Mad Cats. Like, they made light guns and things like that. I mean, hell, I have a U-Force. Not gonna ever use the damn thing again, but I've used one. I used one as a kid. I owned one as a kid. I bought one again as an adult. So I mean, I do like oddball and third-party controllers, but for the most part, I want an authentic, a genuine. There's nothing better than a fresh, crisp, brand new PlayStation controller. I mean, if you could find a brand new NES, like legit, I'm sure that'd be awesome too. But good luck finding that. I feel that really it comes down to you get what you pay for. It's always better quality. But you got to remember, too, you don't always have an option. Sometimes the only thing that's ever made for some older consoles is a third party. They didn't have a first party accessory.
Danby?
Well, I think that I mean, Bones just said it all pretty much.
Pretty much.
Some of them are really great and some of them suck. Some of the really good ones, like my PS2, I have a Logitech 2.4 gigahertz that came out back when the PS2 was out, and that thing is awesome still to this day. And they made one for the original Xbox too. There's some really good ones by like Sunsoft for the NES that has like turbo control on it and stuff. And that one has like a speaker in it, so you can like listen to your headphones in stereo through the NES somehow. But overall, yeah, like a lot of the Mad Cats, not all of them, but a lot of the Mad Cats suck. Yeah, and like, don't even get me started on the Power A stuff for the modern systems, like that kind of. They're so cheap feeling.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, they're okay. I mean, yeah. I would rather have first party all the way. That's all.
DanCav.
This question probably could have been its own topic because I could see a lot of different angles here. But for the most part, for controllers, I always like to stick with the first party controllers. I definitely feel like the third party ones lack something. I mean, there are some exceptions where I did like a third party controller more than the original controller, but for the most part, like for the DualShock, I always feel like there's not anything better than the Sony first party controller. In terms of accessories, yeah, that's all over the place, but yeah, I've always got a kick out of getting some weird peripherals, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes there are like there's a game that comes out that needs an accessory, but like the first party won't make it. The third party has to make it. So you can only get that accessory through a third party. So that's kind of weird how they have a, you would bring out the game. The game like Silent Scope comes to mind, like for the Dreamcast. Like the game came out, but I think a third party made the gun separately or something that has the actual scope that you can zoom in and stuff. But yeah, oh, and the one third party controller maker that I think does a good job is 8-bit who make all the wireless controllers for the retro consoles. I think that's cool.
They make good
Yep.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so that's something I'm a big fan of.
Dizzy.
Man, Bone said it. You get what you paid for.
Pretty much.
Last year, I went on Amazon. They had these wireless PS2 controllers, 2 for $20. I got two clear purple ones. Me and my family gifted Linda, the gamer gal, one of them. I had it for like a year. I always played with it. I'm playing Rugrats PS1. The damn X button goes out. That's like the main button you need, right? The same week, Linda's playing with her wireless controller. The damn controller breaks. So you get what you paid for. I actually made a YouTube short where I retired the purple controller by smashing it with the damn hammer. Broke it to pieces. Yeah, man. You think 2 for $20, man? Who's not gonna buy that? It worked for like a year, and then the X button goes out. So the PS2 OEM is always gonna be the best controller, even if it's wired. You know, I'm using wired controllers now. But accessories, I love my PlayStation 2 light guns. Like my favorite stream I ever did was when I played Lethal Enforcers 1 and 2. Using my green Desert Eagle light gun and my blue Uzi light gun, and they're recoil, so the whole stream you're just hearing clack 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 clack. I know after a while it's probably annoying to watch. You probably can't even watch the stream anymore without getting a headache. But definitely my PlayStation light gun controllers are my favorite, bar none.
Mike Tendo.
I don't know. It's like a love-and-hate relationship, really. Like, I had some pretty decent third-party controllers, and like, there's a lot of fight sticks, like the Hori fight stick I have for the Xbox 360, the Dead or Alive one for. It's a pretty good controller. Some of the ones that I hate though are like there was a Mad Catz controller for the GameCube that was pretty much garbage. I also have the chainsaw controller, but it's not very useful, really.
Yeah.
It just looks cool. But, I don't know. That's all I can think of, really.
All right. OWASP.
I think Chris said, you get what you pay for. It can be really hit or miss. Like I think for the N64, most of my controllers were third party. I don't remember if they were Mad Catz or something else, but I mean they were, cheaper than the regular ones, and they worked fine. And you could use them for Mario Party, and the control stick held up long enough so that you could get through tons and tons of games and rotate that stupid stick around, getting ahead. But like most recently, I think I picked up one for the Sega Master System. There's a guy, Retro Game Boy, who 3D prints controllers, and he does NES and Commodore 64 and Master System and some other stuff. But he 3D prints the entire controller. It's a new circuit board and new everything. And I mean, like mine is like one of my favorite controllers to use with my Master System. They're really sharp, they're responsive, and they're great controllers. And so they're also kind of expensive. He also started making arcade sticks, and I'd like to get one of those. Like it goes back to you get what you pay for. They're not cheap, but they're good quality.
And bargain bin.
So, Mike, what you guys have been saying, I just want to parrot the whole get what you pay for thing, but I've had some amazing controllers and some crappy controllers. Like, I have a bunch of those, like, generic GameStop PS2 controllers. Some of them still work. One of them literally died the same day I got it, and that was actually for my birthday, no less. But then I have this Spider-Man controller that I mentioned in a previous podcast that still holds up really well. It's third party, but it's like my favorite controller because it just everything I need in a controller, and it looks really cool too. So I've already gushed about it in other podcasts, but I've like you. I've had a lot of mixed experiences, but some damn good controllers come from third party. I'm just saying. And then for accessories, the one that comes to me right now is this little comfort grip that I have for my Switch Lite that I just got handed at a swap meet, and it's really, really, it's nice to hold and makes it more comfortable. I mean, it's a comfort grip, so obviously, but yeah, it works really well.
All right, next question, number 4. ROM hacks. General thoughts. Have you played any? What games would you hack if you had the know-how? Bones. Bones.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
The ROM hacks. I have a few. They're really hit or miss too. Like I've seen some that are really great, and I unfortunately don't have any of them. The ones that I got are kind of just like plain Jane. One's called Log Jammer. They're not really sophisticated. It's not like a great game that was taken and hacked. If I was gonna hack one, I think I'd have to go with Punch Out, guys. Just because you could constantly always change it up and put new people in.
Cool. Danby.
Yeah, I really like ROM hacks a lot. Let's see. I've played a ton of them. You know, I've actually played a Punch Out one, and in that they had like characters that were in the Punch Out arcade that they swapped out, or you know, Punch Out, Super Punch Out they put into the Punch Out for NES. Stuff like that. I think that's a lot of fun, just the graphical hacks. But then there's like games that do quality of life hacks where, you know, they added a map to Metroid, things like that, where like wow, like you finally get a map on the pause screen, and it makes Metroid a way better experience. Unless you really like drawing the map yourself or whatever, or just memorizing it. But yeah, all in all, I really think ROM hacks have a lot to offer. You know, and that's not even including like brand new games that are being made. You
Right.
know, like Bones was saying, like the new games that are made, they're usually not all that not that much to them. Like I know the log jammers he's talking about, which is basically windjammers on NES. But some of them are actually getting pretty good too. Like they've got several that are, I would say, like there's one that's like a Mega Man that we did on the channel. There's like a Jay and Silent Bob game. I don't know if you guys have played that, but that's a really good one. Yeah, Mall Brawl. That's pretty fun, and that's like a full fleshed out experience. So I mean, they're pretty cool. And if I could hack a game, I think it would be fun to make a fighter like that, like a Double Dragon or something, and I don't know, put a bunch of different YouTubers in there so you can beat them up.
DanCav.
I was never really into ROM hacks that much until you know, the podcast, and I started hearing you guys talk about them more, and I didn't realize these even existed. So I started to look into that more, and I think adds more life to your games for sure. Many years later, now that, you know, if you emulate and on Raspberry Pi, and you know, into ROMs, and yeah, you'll definitely see tons of variations. The one I see the most is like Streets of Rage. I think I see a lot of people hacking Streets of Rage, putting like any character you can think of, Street Fighter characters or TMNT characters into Streets of Rage. And the other useful thing I think that's really cool is when for sports games, people will update rosters and put like today's players in like Tecmo Bowl or something. So that's cool. I think that definitely adds life to a game, or makes it more accessible to somebody today. So yeah, those are. If I could hack, I would do something along the lines of that.
Dizzy.
Mostly like the usual like Super Mario World hacks, which sometimes are like a breath of fresh air when you've played that game so many times and you've done everything in the game and you want to kind of see the game in a new light. You can play a hack of it, and it might even be a harder Super Mario World or Super Mario World Christmas where everything's snowing and it's all snow levels, which are fun. Like I said, if you've beat the original so many times. But if I was to make a hack, I've said it before. Grand Theft Auto using the Paperboy engine, NES engine, like riding a bike, throwing bombs, shooting Uzis, doing missions. Like GTA 3 has a lot of similarities to me to Paperboy NES. They were to me the first of their kind like that. Like Paperboy when that came out, I never saw a game like that before. Same way with GTA 3. So I think there's a lot of things you could do with it. You're riding the bike just like San Andreas. You're riding through a neighborhood. So if I was to make a hack, it would be that one. Definitely GTA 3 for the NES Paperboy engine.
Mike Tendo.
I've seen a lot of really cool for like in Mugen, like fighting games with a bunch of hundreds of different whatever characters and stuff in one game. And like the Streets of Rage too. Yeah, I've seen a lot of cool was open bore Streets of Rage games. Those are pretty neat. And I think if I were to make my own hack game or whatever, I'd probably just take like Mega Man and maybe put it like in a horror setting or something. And I'd use my little pixelated Michael Myers logo, whatever, as a character. Maybe he could like shoot knives or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be.
Ladderhouse Man.
OWAS.
Yeah, I've played several. Some that have just done, swapped out graphics. Some that it's an entirely, different game, just using the same engine basically. But there's also, the translation ROM hack, so that you can play games that hadn't been. Your fans translate it from, generally Japanese to English, so you can actually go through and play it and actually, understand what's going on in the game. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff. Like Beats of Rage that like Tendo brought up was something that came out on I think the Dreamcast, and they've done just crazy amounts of things with that. You can go online and just look for them, and you can get Masters of the Universe, and you get Ninja Turtles or Hero Turtles, and there's just so many different things out there. And if I could hack one, I would want to hack Alf for the Master System, because I want to see if you can make that game good.
And Bargain Bin.
So I've seen quite a few ROM hacks. If you watch the YouTuber Ant Dude, he frequently covers ROM hacks like Sonic and Mario. He's done a lot of hack videos. One particular that stood out to me was by a famous hacker called Pack and Sack Dave, and he made an NES game about the LJN Defender, the Signals Destroyer, and the main villain of that game is the angry video game nerd because he hates LJN. So it's actually an interesting game. I actually have a ROM hack of it, and I played it all the way through, but I was cheating. And if I were to ROM hack a game, I'd want to ROM hack the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on the Super Nintendo and put in the green/white Ranger.
Nice. All right, this next is kind of like a topic of its own with questions underneath this topic, which is number 5 is nostalgia notions. The first question under that, which is number 1, is nostalgia goggles, good or bad? Bargain Bin.
I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword because you have that one game you loved as a kid, and like for me, example, Dual Heroes on the N64, terrible game, abysmal game, but it brings me back to when I was a kid. My brother and I used to play it a bunch when I go to school, and so playing it just brings me back to being 8 or 10 years old, playing that with my brother for school. And same thing with Hidden Invasion on the PS2. Terrible game, but I just have so many warm nostalgic connections with it that I just can't hate it because it just brings me back to being a kid. But on the other hand, it can kind of hide a game what it really is to you, and it just hurts when those goggles finally come off. So I kind of think it's a double-edged sword, really.
Oh, wow.
I think it's both because and for some of the reasons that were just stated, but it's, I think part of it is even in the bad games, you can find something that was good. It was a different time, things were different, how you played games was kind of different. How many games you had was different, but that with the nostalgia goggles, you are more willing to forgive some of the some of the quality of life improvements that we have now that we didn't have then, like the map for Super Metroid, and a huge pet peeve for me that I can't just. It's just more of a recent thing, and more of I think I'm getting old. And it's like, okay, I don't have a ton of time to play games, but just the number of random battles that come up in some of the older RPGs. Like, I don't have the time to go through and spend 20 hours just grinding. I want to get through this. I want to get the story. Some battles here and there are fine, but they don't hold up for me anymore. It's just like, no, I just want to move on. And so in that instance, the nostalgia goggles come off pretty quick. Like, no, this is just absolutely boring. I don't want to just, I only have 2 hours to play. I don't want to spend half of that getting to the point to get to the dungeon to spend 30 minutes and then have to warp out and heal and then I'm done or whatever.
Mike Tendo.
Oh man, well, I agree with what you just said because there's a lot of those RPGs. It's so much grinding. Oh man, if I can avoid the battles or something, yeah. But those are like much later quality of life type of games. Sometimes if I try to go back and play a game that I thought was really awesome, sometimes it turns out like it really wasn't that super at all. It was just what you had at the time, but you loved it back then, so you played it anyways. Oh, like Karate Kid comes to mind, and I think I beat that game, but now I just I don't know. I can't really get into it anymore as much as I used to.
Dizzy.
I'd say it's a bad thing mostly because you're pretty much associating your own personal memories and feelings to explain if a game is good or not. Like, I've heard people say that 007 is a bad game for N64, and that's a game I love. That's was the greatest game ever made back then, but a younger generation now looking at that game, they're going to look at it, it's going to look all choppy, and they're not going to like the controls. So to them, you might pretty much get the actual experience, which our experience, like they were saying, that's the only game we had back then. So we played it no matter if it was good or bad. So all the nostalgia and the memories we have from it of being good are pretty much because that's all we had. So I'd say it's a bad thing in that way, and especially if it's a younger generation, you're trying to tell that it's a good game because they're not going to understand there wasn't high def graphics back then. Nothing was HDMI, so you might get the actual real experience of a game back then that we used to play if you put the nostalgic feeling down like we have for the game. So I'd say, yeah, bad thing sometimes.
DanCav.
Yeah, same thing. I agree with everything that's been said so far. I mean, it's a mixed bag. I tend to, look at old. Since I'm older, I tend to, and I've been around Atari and other older consoles. I tend to, be nostalgic about those games, be more forgiving. Tend to maybe hype them up more than and overlook their flaws, and just because they're old. And so in that sense, it's hard to get somebody who's playing games today or raised on the newer generation of consoles to appreciate that. So it biases me towards the older games, and it also can make people make me snobby, going, oh well, they don't make games like they used to. They don't make they don't make games as tough as they used to, and today's games are this and that. So it could be good and bad, I think.
Dan B.
I don't really have much to say about this one, but I think that nostalgia is a beautiful place to visit, but not a place I want to live.
Good way of putting it.
I agree.
Yep.
Bones.
Well, my collection's littered with nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's good, it's bad, it's a combination
It's
of
ugly.
both. There's gonna always be something that's never gonna age well. Or you look at it 10, 15 years down the road and you're like, wow, how did I sit there and play this for hours and hours and hours? Well, you didn't have a choice back then, you know?
Yep.
So it means something even if it's bad, hence Ghostbusters, NES, garbage. It still has sentimental value to me. Game was horrible, scarred me for life, but I still have memories with it. So those things are very important. And even the new games you get, you're making those memories with those. We'll see it down the road if those hold up.
Alrighty. The next question in nostalgic notions, number 2. Should developers cash in on our nostalgia? Why or why not? Bones.
Oh no. That's also a double-edged sword because I like that they reproduce stuff so that like your children, Dizzy's daughter can play a game that he doesn't have. You know, they come out with all these compilations or collections. I like that they do that, but I don't feel like they should really be going crazy making cash on that, because I don't feel you should be able to charge a shitload of extra money for a game that was released 20 years ago. You can call me old, but I don't feel that those games should be expensive and they shouldn't be cashing in on them.
Dan B.
Well, I think that if the demand's there and they want to supply it, go for it. But you know, I mean, like I kind of agree with Bones. Like it's, you know, is it ethical maybe or whatever to sell these old games for jacked up prices? You know, I guess you let the market decide that pretty much. Like we don't have to buy the games that they're coming out with, and if we don't, then they're not going to do that anymore. But I do like when they cater to some of my nostalgia. I do like it, so it's hard to deny that.
DanCav.
Yeah, this one's a tough one for me because I'm definitely a sucker when it comes to buying old, the cash grab, limited run games comes to mind, and all their editions they bring out for old, when they go to reprint old games and all the extra stuff they throw in there, and they often get my money because it appeals to my nostalgia or I have good memories of it, so. And same thing with all these like the Nintendo Classic edition and the Sega Genesis Mini, all these old consoles coming back. On the one hand, I think it's great that it offers, especially with the prices of retro gaming and trying to collect the stuff. I think it brings it to a new audience. So in that way, I think it's a good thing. But no, it's not really a good idea. It's never a good thing to cash in on it. Just appealing for nostalgia and trying to make money off it. I think they should bring it out to, to let new people experience it, but not charge an arm and a leg for it. So, so people are getting rich off it.
Dan B, were you done? Did I cut you off?
No, I was done.
Okay, all right. Dizzy.
I'd say they're already doing it with games like Shredder's Revenge, but I'd say, yeah, that's a way to get the older gen gamers to play modern games with the improvements we have nowadays that we never had before. Like a lot of us, as we get older, we get like stubborn, stuck in our ways. We don't want to play modern consoles. So you put a retro game on a modern console. Now we could play multiplayer with headphones and play with our family members across the country. So it's a way to get the older gen to be able to play new games with updated features we never had before. So I think it's a good way in that sense. And like Bone was saying, you're able to play with your younger kids the same games we had back then, where they're not gonna want to. Most kids are not gonna want to play on a regular NES with 2 buttons. They rather play on their Nintendo Switch. So if you're able to do it like that and make it like a family experience, I think it's a good way in that sense.
Mike Tendo.
It's like love it or hate it kind of thing for me, because like limited run, for example, like there's some things I really don't mind buying, and there's some things that I don't see myself ever touching, like Bill and Ted. I don't really know why anybody would want that, but you could just buy a regular copy of Bill and Ted for like a couple dollars. I don't know, that's kind of weird. But then they have other games too that like are being released for the first time, like Avenging Spirit on the Game Boy. That's a pretty. I played the arcade game of that, and that's pretty fun. I love that game. So I actually can't wait for that to come out. And then I like it when older companies are trying to like revamp their backlog of old games and bring them out, for the first time for a lot of people. Sunsoft is doing that too. Like they're bringing some of their old family games to the PS4 and Switch and stuff. So I'm really down for stuff like that, for sure.
Oh, Aussie.
Just trying to add something different. Yes, they should cash in this if it helps keep the lights on, but more so no if it's at the cost of just re-releasing the same old stuff that's already been done. I think Shredder's Revenge was a good example of that. That it's new, but it was also old. I still prefer the art style from the Genesis and the Super Nintendo versions of TMNT. But it was fun. It was fun to jump online and play with people. But I'd take Turtles in Time or Hyperstone Heist over Shredder's Revenge any day of the week. But they can also do it in ways like they do with Shenmue and Yakuza, where you can go into the arcades and you can play the old games. And so there's multiple ways that they can cash in, and that they can try to draw in people just from the nostalgia sake, or the nostalgia pull. And it's not all, LRG re-releasing games that, like, why would they re-release Shadows of the Empire? That's one I was like, I don't understand. That one, as far as I know, is not a rare game. It's not hard to find. And that was like, there's no reason why anyone should be paying that price for the N64 version when you could go on eBay and pick it up. I don't think it's helping. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't help the hobby. It's just flooding it with basically crappy third-party accessories that most people aren't even probably going to put in their system. Because didn't they also release a Street Fighter 2 for the SNES that was frying people's consoles? So, in that way it was definitely a bad cash in on their part. But there's so many different ways that you can get cash in on with the nostalgia. With like the Pac-Man game that just came out, you can collect all the different little stuff, set up your arcade, and unlock the other arcades for different Pac-Man games. So, I mean, it's good to keep that stuff alive and to help bring in fresh blood, but also keep the old blood pumping and excited for what's coming out. But it's got to be done with care and some forethought.
And Bargainman?
I feel like you want to do it, go ahead, but there's a right and wrong way to do it. Like, for example, as has been mentioned a few times, Shredder's Revenge was basically just a massive nostalgia bomb, because it's calling back to the old games, but also the old cartoon. Irma, Vernon showing up. Like, kids don't even know who they are anymore, that I'm aware of. I don't know if they came back in the new shows or not, but yeah, most kids don't even know who those are anymore. And in some way, you're kind of like nodding to the original fans, like, hey, we remember you. You love this. Let's give this to you in a fresh new way. But then there's, as other people mentioned, the bad example, and I remember I played Power Rangers Megaforce on the 3DS, which even I have very little good to say about it. But one of the completion bonuses was you could get like Mighty Morphin skins for all the Rangers in that game. But they just play the same, and it's like putting sprinkles on a turd. It like does not like it was clearly just pandering to the parents of the kids who got the cartridge, and it just that did not want to make me play the game again. It was nice that they thought to include it, but at what cost? And like I said, there's a right and wrong way to do it. And like re-releasing these old games with new features might appeal to some people, not others. But I just think that you want to acknowledge the old fans, like they played this 20 years ago, and you remember them. Great, do that. But like I said, really, a lot of effort and care has to be put into it, to not just be like pandering, if that makes sense.
Okay, again with nostalgia notions. Number 3, name a nostalgic game and explain why it's nostalgic for you. Bones.
Fucking A, baby, Doom. I will never ever forget. That's got to be the biggest highlight ever. Playing that for the first time, sitting in a basement in the dark with the glow of the computer, with my buddy and his parents upstairs. If they would have known we were playing that, oh my god, they would have been furious. I mean, there's a ton of memories, but that one is by far probably one of the best memories I have of video gaming. It makes me know I was going to venture into all different realms of gaming.
Dan B.
First one that comes to mind is way back in the day. I remember a friend of mine and I took a bunch of money that we had saved up, which when you're like 10 years old, it's not that much. But we decided we have to beat the Bad Dudes arcade game. And we took a bunch of quarters.
Bad Dudes.
And we just kept putting in quarters until we finally beat that game. And it was just a ton of fun. I will never forget that. And even though Bad Dudes is not that great of a game,
it's all right.
You know, yeah, it's okay. It's okay, but it's not like it's not considered on the top tiers or anything like that. It's no Street Fighter or whatever. But at the time it was great. You know, there was like voices like "I'm bad,"
yep.
Stuff like that coming out.
Yep.
And you know, and that was like, oh, it sounded so cool in the arcade and stuff. And yeah, I just have a lot of nostalgia for that. And then you know, we took that tradition and beat the first Ninja Turtles game, and you know, we kind of went on from there. We did a lot of arcade stuff, so that's
cool.
My nostalgia thing.
DanCav.
A lot of the Atari games are nostalgic for me because I was really young when and that was like my first introduction to video gaming. So those all stand out in my mind as something I have a lot of fond memories of. In particular, games like Pitfall and Adventure, because those were like games that you know had a lot of good gameplay for the time, and I think still hold up today. So when I think back of those games, that they were really good at the time, and I think they're still good today.
Dizzy.
I'm very nostalgic for Mystery Quest on the NES. I could remember back in the day sleeping on my parents' bed, waking up, and we had a brand new Zenith TV and an NES with Mystery Quest. My sisters were playing it. When I finally got time to play it, I played probably for like an hour or two. I never knew where we got the NES and the TV from. I didn't even ask, but I just loved playing that game, Mystery Quest. Like I said before, 2600 was my first console, so the sprites, the colors, the sound effects, everything on this game was so brand new to me that I loved it. And even to this day, I look at the game with nostalgic goggles. It might not be the best game, not even close, but just with those memories alone, I love that game so much.
Mike Tendo.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I may have answered this before, but I think my most nostalgic game has to be like Double Dragon. Because I used to, in the arcades, like, there was a time when it was good enough I could actually beat it like with a quarter, like 1 credit.
Wow.
Nice.
In school, back in the 7th grade, like in my art class, I made this really awesome kind of like paper mache diorama of the NES box cover. It looked pretty cool. It was all 3D, and I got an award for that back in the day.
Cool.
I always had fun. You know, I always went to my cousins and played the NES version there or the Master System, whatever. It's just such a fun game to me. I don't know, endless fun.
Oh, Oz.
I think it has to. One that's really nostalgic for me is Starflight. I played it on several different systems, but going over to my buddy's house and playing it on his Mac, and just on that game, if you play it through without any cheating, you got to go through and you got to take just notes and notes of what the different creatures are saying and locations that they're throwing out and hints about artifacts and all kinds of other different things. And then when you're just sitting there, just going through and pouring over the notes, and they said this, and then oh wait, now they said this. After you take the information from these 2 or 3 or 4 different things, it's like, okay, now maybe that means something. So you go out and you explore this planet and you find ruins or something. Just so much. That game, there's so much involved with it. But then being able to do it with a friend and find out and find the clues and progress the story, and eventually we beat it. And just, I mean, it's still one of my favorite games. And like anyone who wanted to experience a game where there's a lot of depth and it's an older game, like Starflight's one that I would throw out there. It was, I think, an inspiration for a lot of modern games, including Mass Effect.
And Bargain Bin?
So I could give any number of games for this, but I think for this particular one, I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance on the PS2. And like a lot of my gaming nostalgia, that largely stems from my brother. We played that game all the way through and we beat it together. But the thing I remember the most about this was actually kind of very coincidental timing, because when you're in the first town, you go down the sewer, and then you go talk to the shopkeepers, and you go, "Ooh, friend, I think the sewer's taking a liking to you." One time he said that right after my brother farted. So that might be an odd reason for his nostalgia, but I love Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, and you can never tell me it's not a good game.
Yeah.
All right, sticking with nostalgia notions. This is for the parents. Are there any parents in here besides myself and Dan and Dizzy and Oaz?
I'm not a parent now.
Bargain's not a parent. Mike, you're not a parent, are you?
No.
Dan B?
Yeah, I'm a parent.
Okay. All right, this is to us. Do y'all show your kids your childhood games? If so, do they like them? We'll start with you, Dan B.
Well, I mean, my kids are grown now. I'm a bit older, but yeah, they liked them all. I've worked at a video game store, and I'd bring home games all the time, and they loved it. They loved every second of it, and regardless if it was an old Game Boy game or whatever. So they actually now, they're out on their own and stuff, and they have retro systems and they have modern systems, and I mean, they're more into the modern stuff for sure. But yeah, they like them, and
Cool.
I showed it to them. They didn't like them all, but some of it they don't get, and that's fine. So yeah, that's it.
DanCav?
I'm the opposite. My daughter, is in the generation where they're doing iPad, and she has no interest in the old video games I've tried to show her. She plays like Among Us and stuff on stuff that the kids play today, Roblox and Minecraft and that kind of thing. But anything I've tried to show her really didn't hold her interest that much.
Dizzy?
Well, most of you guys know my kid, Melody's Playroom. She started as a retro gamer. As a 2-year-old, she would watch us playing Super Mario World, and she'd go and grab the controller and want to play. Even on PlayStation 2, if I was playing a PS2 game, she'd want to get the controller. Like, the kids see that what you're doing in your hand is able to move something on the TV, and they want to do the same thing too. So I would even do the trick where I'd give her own controller that wasn't plugged in, and after a few seconds she would realize it's not plugged in and go back to try to grab my controller. So we always play those Super Mario World games, and that was always our family time together. And even on PlayStation 1, Spyro the Dragon, like she's gotten to the last boss, Nasty North, by herself. So it was always fun. But like Dan was saying, like Roblox and Minecraft, once she got into Minecraft, it was all over. Like she doesn't want to play retro games anymore. So like young parents out there, Roblox and Minecraft are retro game killers. They'll never go back.
I agree. 100%.
And OAS.
Yeah, we played games as my daughter was growing up, and yeah, it was hit and miss. There's ones like, oh yeah, that one's fun. Yeah, that one was okay. That one I have no interest in. We were out. We just got back from vacation today. At the hotel, they had a little game room, and they had, the world's largest Pac-Man. And she saw that, she said, "Oh, I want to go play that." So, there's some of them that'll stick with her, and she'll keep wanting to play. But yeah, there's a lot of times the more modern stuff is what she, gravitates towards. But every once in a while, there's something that either I'm playing or so, oh, I'll try that. And so it's just a hit and miss thing, you never know, and so you just throw them a bunch of different games and see what they do and don't like. It's just like, we all have our own individual tastes and whatnot.
All right. Next question. Number 5. Is couch co-op dying? Bones.
Well, the definition for what we old timers know it of couch co-op, yes, that's dying, if not dead. Couch co-op now is sit online, play with your buddies over headsets in different states, different cities, towns. That's the new definition in my eyes.
Dan B.
Well, not for me, it's not.
Of course it's not.
Yeah, because I got a person that comes over weekly and we play couch co-op games a lot. But I can see, obviously the writing's on the wall. It's with technology, it's so much more convenient and looks way better to just have your own screens and do your own thing in your own place out of convenience. So I get the appeal of why it's going away. But at the same time, I would hope that some people still do like having some kind of human contact and connection with other people, just growing up in the arcades and playing at home on the couch and stuff. I'd like to see it continue, but I'm doubtful.
DanCav.
Well, it's definitely dying for me because I just don't have time, or I don't get together with friends as much and sit around and play video games anymore. But it's unfortunately I think it's probably on the way out. I think online gaming and then that's helping keeping video game players together to play games, so that's always a good thing, whether you do it on the couch or online. I think it's fun to do that. But yeah, the couch co-op is probably on its way out. I will say, I think Nintendo Switch, I think they do a pretty good job of still trying to keep things fun with people locally. That I think the whole idea of making the Switch portable and bringing it around, and a lot of the games are designed to be like co-op games that you sit around and play with your friends. So I think they've done a good job of trying to keep it going.
Dizzy.
I wouldn't say it's dying, but I'd say that the times are just changing. Like families aren't meeting up like they used to before. Like with cell phones and the internet and FaceTime and different apps, it's given us a false sense of closeness. It's given us a false sense of, I just met up with this person when you actually haven't. So that's kind of changing. Like the families aren't meeting up like back in the day. Like when I was a kid, we'd spend all summer at our cousin's house, and that's all we would do is co-op N64, Mario Kart 007, playing all night. Like I just don't think that's happening anymore. Like I don't think the cousins are going to meet up with their cousins like they used to back in the day. So I think that's more of what's changing. And with the online, that's even given us the false sense of I just played with this person, when you're actually doing it online and talking into a headset. So that's really what's changing to me.
Mike Tenda.
I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Is couch co-op dying?
Man, it's a good question. I want to say, yeah, I think so. I don't really see that many split screen type of games out there. I don't know. It seems to be more just online.
All right, OWAS.
Okay, what do we mean by dying? That that in 10 years there's not going to be any more couch co-op games, or no one's going to be couch co-op gaming?
Bargain
In that
bin
regard, I
can
don't.
answer that for you. Bargain bin.
Oh, sorry. I was kind of phased out, but in a way, I kind of see what you guys are saying, because like it's just so much more convenient, especially when we had that pandemic a couple years ago, and kind of coincidental timing when Animal Crossing came out right as that was happening. So, but in another way, it's kind of not, because just a couple weeks ago I was babysitting some kids, and I brought my Switch, and we were playing Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge, and they were like really having fun. I can remember the daughter was like all excited. Well, you always say hey like a girl. Now here I am doing karate. Like, kid, you're holding a controller. You're not doing karate. But I still think there is a market for couch co-op. Just gather your buddies, and even if it's over a headset, and as I believe it was Dizzy who said, it's the false sense of you met somebody when really you haven't.
Yeah.
You just heard their voice and maybe saw their face, but you didn't meet them in person. And but I think that in some ways it's still around, but in some ways it's kind of on the way out. And I think it's down, but it's not out just yet.
You want to answer OWAS's question?
Oh, I have completely missed it. What was?
OWAS, go ahead and ask it again.
I think he kind of did, but just like, what do we mean by dying? And is there not going to be any more couch co-op games? In 10 years or something down the line.
Right.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's kind of like, why would you want to invite all these smelly people into your house when they can be smelly in their own house, but still play the game with you? I think to some extent we miss that.
All right, you can answer it now, OWAS.
The quick answer is no.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'd even say it's necessarily on life support, because even if there's no games that were made for it going forward, there's still thousands and thousands of games that have couch co-op. That's like the only way you can play. There's Steam Remote Play and all kinds of other ways of doing it, but there's so many different ways to play all these retro games that the experience cannot be replicated of when you and a buddy or buddies are sitting in the same room playing a game together. And I mean, up until a few years ago, and it was before COVID hit, we used to have game nights, and things got crazy. It wasn't COVID that why we stopped doing it. It was just it got to be a lot, because for like 4 or 5 years, once or twice a week, we were having people over, and it was 8-10 people over, and we were playing games. And some people were on the TV playing a 4-player game, and then we had handheld, and then we started having a second TV hooked up, and I think there will always be that desire to get people together. I mean, we still wish we could do it, and we've done smaller scale ones where it's only we invite a couple over, and we play like 4-player games. We play like Mario Party or something else. And so, I think that it's not dead. I don't even know if I'd say it's dying. It's just the way we're seeing it is done a little bit differently, and it's not how we're used to it. But I think there'll always be that social aspect where, hey, we want to get together and hang out, and you have some food, and you watch a movie, and then you play some games. I mean, my daughter and my wife, we'll talk about it. Yeah, we need to have another one of those. And, life gets busy, and somebody else needs to carry on the
Yeah, I
torch,
think that's
but-
the basis behind the question is if you're going to have that time to get together these actual people and actually do it.
Yeah, it's a big thing. But I like last time I went out and visited my brother. We busted out the multi-tap for the Super Nintendo, and for like 2 evenings we played nothing but like Super Bomberman and then Bomberman 2 and 3, and just his kids, and we had 5 people playing, and just I just don't think that's an experience that can be replicated any other way. And so I think there will always be that draw to have that, because even now, like if I go over to a buddy's house for his birthday, or vice versa, there's always, all right, can we sneak away and go play a game? Even if it's only for 20 or 30 minutes. And maybe it's just it's what I like, and it's a personal thing, but it's just cool being able to sit next to somebody and if it's a fighting game, to trash talk each other and just have fun doing it, and not in a malicious way, but just enjoy one another's company, giving each other smackdowns, and but then also being able to like, oh dude, that was awesome, how'd you pull off that move, and stuff like that.
I agree.
That was way too long.
Yeah. All right. Still under nostalgia notions. Number 6, unfair multiplayer characters such as Oddjob. Should developers keep including them? Bargain bin.
No. That's my answer. Just stop it.
Oh, Oz.
Yes, but like GoldenEye was a big thing when my senior year of high school. We played that a bunch, and we were just like, all right, you can't use Oddjob. You can't use this guy. You can't use this weapon if it was overpowered or whatever. But then there was matches like, all right, everybody's Oddjob, and because once everyone figured out, okay, well, yeah, you have to duck down and whatnot. They can include bad characters, although that's also kind of like if you're in the same room and you can have it where like, okay, everyone agrees we're not going to use this guy because he's jank. Online I would say no, don't do it.
Mike Tendo.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not really cool when you're getting beat by somebody like Oddjob or something. So, but then again, it's also kind of cool being the Oddjob. So I don't know. I don't think they should get rid of it, really. If it's like a tournament thing type of deal, then I mean, it should be banned or whatever. But just to play in the game, I think it's cool.
Dizzy.
I'd say yeah, keep the characters like Oddjob. That kind of evens out the playing field against that one player who played that game every day and knows where all the guns and where everybody's hiding at. Like, I had a cousin who would throw proximity mines everywhere, and he knew when you blew up exactly where you're gonna respawn, and the proximity mine would blow you up there. You respawn again and blow you up again. Respawn again, blow you up again, and then the match was over. So like that kind of evens it out if you're able to have Oddjob in there, or if you maybe have like a younger player or inexperienced player who doesn't know how to play the game too much. Give them Oddjob. They might have a small advantage, but you still have to play the game. So I'd say yeah, keep them in there.
DanCav.
Oh man, I wasn't very much of a GoldenEye player, so I don't know.
You can go by whatever. It just says unfair.
No, I'm just saying, like I
characters.
don't understand the whole Oddjob.
He was very short, so he was hard to hit.
Right, you couldn't. He was hard to shoot. Right,
That could like kill you in one hit.
right.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I guess it's unfair, but I mean, I'd rather them put something in there just to make the game interesting, and then rather than leave it out. But other than that, yeah, I can't think of any other characters that are unfair in the game that's so, that's so bad that I would want them gone. So yeah, I have no problem keeping them in.
Dan B.
Well, I think that they make games now that are kind of based off this idea, like the new Friday the 13th game, where you could either be like the overpowered Jason, and you're fighting all the campers, and it's kind of like that's the idea, is like how do you defeat that overpowered being? And it's still multiplayer, and either Jason wins or the campers win, And they've just come out with an Evil Dead game that's kind of the same thing, So it's almost becoming a genre itself.
True.
So yeah, that's what I think about it.
Bones.
I mean, it'd be nice if they could turn some off and on, some of the attributes.
Toggle.
But other than that, I mean, it doesn't really make any difference to me. I think they should keep them. It gives the game a little more character. It gives you a little more something to do. Like the other guys were saying, it evens the playing field on some of the other guys that know a lot. It'll let you actually run around a little longer. Because nobody likes to go into a game and die immediately and die immediately and die immediately. That just isn't fun.
All right, sticking with the same nostalgia notions. Number 7, best gun from video games. Bargain bin.
Well, so I kind of have two answers on this one. The first one was from Destroy All Humans. It was called the Anal Probe. And essentially it shoots the enemy, and then I'm not kidding, they grab their butt and run away. And then their head explodes and you get their brain. Now, this gun wasn't really practical. It was more for like the novelty, because it really wasn't good to use in like heavy combat or against the strong enemies. But for the first little bit, because you get it right at the beginning of the game and you can't really upgrade it. But for a little bit, it's kind of fun. But then, like I said, once you get into like the tougher fights, you're not going to want to use it. But then there's also a really odd choice, Kazooie from Banjo-Tooie, because you literally take your bird from out of your backpack, cock her neck like a gun, and then you're like shooting eggs out of her. Like you're whacking people with her beak, and like I love Banjo-Tooie. This just major nostalgia, and I think that there's a million other guns, like the dubstep gun from Saints Row 4, that was insane, or just insert any guns that can just blow someone's head off immediately. But I have to go with the more comedic guns. So those are my two answers.
Oh wow.
The gravity gun from Half-Life 2. Just running through that game and, there was an achievement for, like, you could only shoot once, and that was to destroy a lock. But you really got to learn how to use that gravity gun and just pull stuff in and shoot it off, and, if you had a saw blade, you wanted to try to keep it so that you could really inflict some damage, with that thing, because you could cut up the head crabs and the other baddies. And we're doing a second one. There's a nanite gun in Red Faction Guerrilla, so you could use it to destroy the vehicles and whatnot. And it was funny because like the guys would run out of the disintegrating vehicle. But it was just fun to shoot stuff and watch it disintegrate and dissolve in front of you.
Mike Tendo.
I'm gonna throw kind of a curve. I think my favorite gun is more of a peripheral, but the rifle and silent scope. I thought that was a pretty cool, like, immersive gimmick. Looking into the scope itself and seeing an awesome viewed in angle of your targets or whatever. That was the coolest gun, in my opinion.
Dizzy.
I got two myself. The first one's obvious, the Golden Gun in 007. One hit and you're dead. That ends the game pretty quick. And also the for Vice City, Grand Theft Auto, the 357 Python. That's like the one hitter quitter. Like, people think you need a machine gun, a M16. I'm beating the whole game just using the 357 Python. One hit and they're out.
DanCav.
Best gun from video games. In Gears of War, I think that's called Hammer of Dawn. It's like this. It's like it calls like a satellite strike from the heavens, and like a big laser beam shoots out of the sky and kills your enemy. So that's a pretty cool gun. And then also in Final Fantasy, they have the Gunblade, which is like a sword plus a gun, and you slice your opponent, and you actually hit the trigger button to actually inflict extra damage. That's like a gun and the blade combined. That's kind of cool.
Dan B.
Besides the spread gun in Contra, I would think one of the most funs I had with guns was there's a gun in Cyberpunk 2077 called Skippy, and it's a gun with an AI, and it just basically makes fun of you every time you shoot at something. And yeah, so you'll shoot and be like, "Oh, nice try, buddy," and stuff like that. And that's a
It
pretty fun
heckles
one.
you.
Yeah, it heckles you. And then it'll help you sometimes, and it'll like auto aim for you and be like, "I did that," things like that.
Bones.
Well, I'm gonna have to go with the chainsaw from Doom. I thought that was cool. And as far as like an actual gun, I thought the Needler was a really neat addition to the gun category.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
All right, last.
Needler from Halo.
Halo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, needle 'em and boom.
Yeah, fun.
Last question. Has a game ever opened you up to a genre you did not like before? Bones.
Sure. Barbie supermodel, whatever the hell it opened me up to
More Barbie games?
remember what the hell Barbie's got on for clothing, makeup, and driving around in a Corvette.
You really do drive around a Corvette. Dan B.
Corvette.
I don't know. I mean, every genre's been new to me once, so I
Exactly.
guess so.
Yeah. Dan
I
Cav.
can't-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, Dan Cav.
Yeah, I would say that the podcast has opened more than the game itself, but the podcast has opened me up to wrestling games. I was never a big fan of wrestling games, but then we've had a lot of discussion about wrestling games on the podcast, and so that's opened my eyes a lot to that. Yeah, I know now there's a lot of good wrestling games out there, and also I would say on similar. We've been talking a lot about fishing games from time to time, and so yeah, it's not. Yeah, so Dizzy knows. Yeah, that's now I'm looking out for fishing games more.
Dizzy.
Not sure if this is really a racing game, but Mario Kart 64 definitely got me into like multiplayer racing games like Cruising USA, Rush, even the new Cruising Blast on the Switch. So yeah, I wasn't really, like we talked on the last podcast before, nobody knew that one racing game. Like nobody was into racing games, but that's somewhat racing game, more like a, I don't even know what you would call it. But yeah, that got me into racing games like that, multiplayer.
Mike Tendo.
So like, there's a game called 13 Sentinels on Aegis Rim. It's more like a visual novel game by like Vanillaware, and they do like a lot of like kind of like 2D RPGs. So I was thinking it was just going to be an RPG, but but it's actually a graphic novel, and it's a really good one. It kind of like delved me into it. So I'm going to check out other ones eventually.
And what game was that you say?
13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
Okay.
Yeah.
OWASP.
I think I have to say like the Burnout series got me a little bit more into racing games. I don't like the realistic ones, but the more arcade style, like the cruising games and stuff like that. Burnout, I think, has really helped me appreciate those more. But I'm still waiting for a real like sequel to Burnout and Burnout Revenge.
And Bargain Bin.
So, kind of like first-person shooters, I didn't like them at first because, like, when I was like 6 years old and I got Banjo-Tooie for Christmas, some of the early missions in the game are first-person shooters, and they have these like cat enemies in the first world. When they see it, they go "Row!" And I say that when my cat is on my lap. Oh, she's leaving now, but and it would scare me if I heard him off screen. And it wasn't until like high school, and my then girlfriend and I would trade some games, and she gave me Call of Duty or Medal of Honor Frontline. And I was scared of it at first, but eventually got into it, and now it's like one of my favorite genres. And similarly, Musou, I think, like the Dynasty Warriors, whatnot, I used to not be into them, but I have like an online friend who got me addicted to them, and two of the favorite games like that I've ever played with the Dragon Quest Heroes games. In fact, just a couple weeks or last month, I beat Dragon Quest Heroes 2. Fantastic game. So, yeah, I could say there were games that opened me up to a new genre.
All right, and that concludes the topic portion of the podcast. Next up, Dan, Cav, take it away.
All right, yeah, I mean, podcast pickups, just very few this month because we just recorded not that long ago, and I did my last segment. So, in that short span of time, I only had a chance to pick up a few games. But first and foremost, in the center there, you see Mystery Quest, which was
Nice.
the Disney special. We were talking about the NES podcast and talking about good NES games, and he mentioned it there, and he gave a very good review, and he mentioned it again this podcast as one of his favorite games. So yeah, it's and the good thing about Disney's recommendations is that they're always very affordable. Like they're not going to break the bank. So $30 can get you a complete in box copy of Mystery Quest.
Be nice.
Yes, and then from the previous podcast talking about complete in box collecting. Was it you, Bargain Bin, who mentioned Wolverine?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned Wolverine, XMen Origins Wolverine, and definitely that was affordable, $28. And I think it was the last podcast, Chris, number 66. You had it. You had Gods as Leave It or Leave It. Is that right?
Yep. You got it.
I found this a good deal on Amazon on one of the marketplace sellers. They had a complete in box at $37 when it normally goes for around $60. So
Nice.
yeah, so that was a good pickup. So that's it for podcast pickups for this month.
Did anybody pick up any games because of the podcast?
A while back, I got the Burger King games.
Ah, you got the King games.
Nice.
I think everybody's getting those. Anybody else? No.
No.
Nope.
All right. On to the next segment. Dan B, since you're new here, 3D or no is basically, I also do 3D sleeves. So I put up a few games and see if anybody would want to do those in 3D. So that's what 3D or no is. So this is almost the last segment. One more after this, and then we are done. So 3D or no, Bones, Decap Attack.
Yes.
DanCav.
Yeah, that head coming off the page there would be perfect for this game.
Dan B.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. The head coming off would be great.
Dizzy.
Yeah, exactly. That skull coming to the front, 3D pop. Yep.
Mike Tendo.
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh, Oz.
Definitely pop the skull and have the those yellow eyes inset a little bit. I think it would look great.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun game too.
And Bargain.
Without a doubt, yes. And also, I just need a quick shout out. The first level theme is fantastic. It's like one of my favorites, and I've even used it in a couple of my YouTube videos. So definitely 3D pop that skull.
Cool. Next title, Mortal Kombat 2 for the 32X. Bones.
Now, Mortal Kombat deserves a 3D sleeve, but I don't feel that Mortal Kombat 2 is the one that deserves that. So I'm going to say no on this one.
Dan B.
Well, I mean, I agree. It deserves a 3D sleeve, but I can't see how you'd even do it for this one because it's such a weird fade on the dark colors.
I can do it. There has not been a sleeve. There has not been a 3D sleeve that I couldn't do yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it. I'd like to be impressed by it.
DanCav.
Yeah, I have to agree with what's been said. I mean, out of all the Mortal Kombat games, this is probably, I wouldn't do this one. This looks a little bit difficult to make this pop out, but maybe you can prove us wrong, Chris.
Dizzy.
Yeah, same as they were saying. With the colors fading in like that, it'd be pretty difficult. But I'm sure Chris could do something. But This wouldn't be the game I'd 3D sleeve.
Mike Tendo.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious, like if the lightning was like one layer in 3D and then the logo another layer. I don't know. I'm kind of curious, so yeah, I'll try to say yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's not much to this one. I mean, unless you
Less is more
change
sometimes.
the color of change the color of the logo a little bit so it stands out some more, and then make it pop, and then add it into 3D. Maybe, but otherwise, no, that one just there's not enough going on with that logo.
Barbie.
Honestly, I want to see how you do it too. So yes, 3D sleeve, just to see how you would do it.
Next title, Bubble Bobble for the NES. Bones. Now there's plenty here the 3D.
I'm gonna go with yeah for that one.
Dan B.
Yeah, I like this game, and it'd be cool to see that. I think those two guys in the front would pop.
DanCav.
Yeah, I can see how this would make a good 3D sleeve. It's a little busy, but I mean, yeah, I think it'd be fine.
Dizzy.
Yeah, I agree. The game is awesome, and I would like to see a 3D sleeve. I think this sleeve would look pretty good, yeah.
Mike Tendo.
Yeah, definitely. That's an easy one for me. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'd definitely have to go with no. This game can just go and burn in the fiery pits of that one place.
He saw too much Bubble Bobble, that's why.
Complete the Master System version, all 200 levels, and then see how much you like Bubble Bobble after that.
Oh, shit.
Fair point.
That's what I said. You saw too much Bubble Bobble.
Yes. It's just,
I remember.
yeah. Maybe another 10 or 20 years I'll be over it, but it's too soon.
Hey, but this is the NES version. It's not the Sega Master System version.
Yeah, which just means you have less levels, and so and worse colors.
Bargain bin.
Honestly, I could go either way on this one, but if you were gonna 3D pop it, could you maybe make them look a little bit more like Godzilla than they already do?
Sure. I'm good at altering stuff. All right, last title, Rad Racer for the NES. Bones.
No.
Dan B.
Well, I mean, it's a 3D game, so I think...
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
DanCav. Yeah, DanCav.
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever a game that should be, because based on the game itself, is this, but
exactly.
This box makes it a little bit hard to do that.
I just don't think it'll look that good.
Yeah.
I don't see what you're saying, but okay. Dizzy.
Well, the challenge is all yours now, Chris.
Right. I'd say the box art pretty much looks 3D already, so if you could 3D pop that out in the blue and red colors so that when you put the glasses on, it's even more 3D, I would definitely love that.
Mike Tendo.
Yeah, I think it would work. I'd be curious to see what it would look like too. Like maybe you could do some layers blue and some layers red.
Yeah, that's what Dizzy was talking about. Oh, wow.
This one I'd actually like to see it, especially if you could, you have the city in one layer, you have that first car in one layer,
Yep.
blue and yellow car in one layer, the red car in another layer, and then the dashboard.
Yep.
Like,
There's plenty to
be
pop.
a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it could be kind of neat.
And Bargain bin.
I could kind of go either way on this one personally. I'd like to see what you do, but if it didn't get 3D popped, I don't think I would lose a whole lot of sleep over it.
All right, final segment, guys. We're almost there. Game of the month. Bones.
Super Bomberman 2.
Dan B.
Magic Knight Ray Earth.
DanCav.
Guilty Gear Strive for the PS5.
Dizzy.
Maximum Force for PS1, light gun game.
Mike Tendo.
You guys can laugh at me all you want, but I'm gonna say Avengers.
Oh, wow.
You mean Captain America and the Avengers?
No, I mean like of the Avengers.
The PS4.
Yeah, like
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
It tagged.
I'm gonna go with Zelda Oracle of Ages on the Game Boy. I just beat that, and I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna throw the game away.
Shit. Congrats.
And Bargain Bin.
I'm gonna say Splatoon 2, mainly because Splatoon 3 is coming out next month, and I need to beat that game already. So I'm gonna say Splatoon 2.
All right, that concludes the podcast. Thank you, Bargain Bin, for coming up with the topic or the questions, I should say.
Happy to help.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there. I know it was a little bit of a long one.
Longer
Thanks,
the
everybody.
better.
Yeah.
It was
More
fun.
podcast.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't blow, just leave. Later.
Good night, everybody.
Leave.
See
ya.
Peace.
Have a good one.
Bones,
Yo.
Dan B,
Check, check, check.
Dan Cav,
Hello, hello, hello.
Dizzy,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mike, Mike Tendo.
We lost him.
We lost Mike.
No.
Come back, Mike.
You can blame it all on us.
You can do it. You can do it.
No.
Believe in the power of the cards.
Or the microphone, whichever works.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Why
Yeah.
did you send him over to the Game Beaters channel? That was the worst thing.
He hit the link.
He hit the link and didn't come back. So that's good for you, Dan.
No.
That's good for you, Dan.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Oh,
Oh,
he
now
left.
we just lost.
Yep, he left. I knew it was something must have been going on.
Hopefully he was back.
He'll be back.
He's got access, so he should be able to click right in.
Should we wait or we keep going?
Oh, we can go. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I am here.
And Bargain Bin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full.
The funny thing is, for some reason, Bargain Bin, you're always at the bottom. Like I noticed that. Like you're always at the bottom of the list.
I have a T name for probably that starts the reason.
That's what it is.
Yeah. If you change your name to Bargain Bin Hobo, then
Yeah.
you'd be at the
maybe
top.
First.
I
Yeah,
don't
you would
mind
be
going
first. You would be first, actually.
But he's
Yeah.
the.
He's
not
the.
Bargain Bin Hobo.
The.
He's
I- the- Except no substitutes.
The real McCoy.
Yeah. Can't confuse that with the Bargain Bin. No, he's the. Do I need to start saying that in the podcast? Like, the Bargain Bin Hobo?
We might not. At this point.
Come on, Mike.
Mike. Waiting for you, Mike. Maybe you had to go to the bathroom like I did.
just take it with you.
Yeah.
We don't mind hearing you go to the bathroom. Everyone does it.
I'll give him a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's showing that he's on there, so I don't know. There he goes. He's typing now.
Maybe something came up at the last second, as sometimes it does. You doggo us.
He don't know what happened.
Huh, weird.
Thanks. It was nice to come in and see that she was laying right in my spot on the bed.
My dog does that too, and she's small, but she's fat. So,
Yeah.
well, the thing is that she's ballooned ever since we got her. So, for being so small, she's freaking heavy.
Yeah, ours isn't. She's not that small. She's a pretty good size. I
Her
think
name is
she's-
Pistol. I think you need to change your name to Mortar. Yeah.
Yeah, when she gets up on the bed, though, I usually try to lift her up to put her down because our bed is a little bit higher, and we think she may have actually hurt herself jumping off of the bed.
And I have like a recliner right next to my. Oh, he's
Oh,
back.
he's back.
Hello? Okay.
Hello.
All right.
Mike check.
Mic check, please.
Oh,
Mike Tendo check.
Mike Tendo power check.
Mike Tendo does what Nintendo also does. Check.
I don't know. I can't get my freaking.
That's it. We can hear him.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Say it again, Mike. Nope.
Can you hear us?
I don't know what the fuck.
We heard that.
We did her fuck.
I'm just using my iPad speaker.
All right, now we can hear you pretty good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's better. That's perfect.
Okay. Okay.
You're good now. All right.
Okay. I won't use these.